Heather.
Oh, we got one.
Right off and then push beside.
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
doesn't Heather get paid to watch this?
You know,
I'm happy to hear that, Bill.
so I'm excited.
No kidding.
Council, I'd like to call this meeting to order. Council, it's my turn to do opening today, and as I was thinking, I didn't really want to do a COVID opening, because COVID is such a noisy subject. It's been probably the most noisy subject we've had this decade. There's so much noise on it. There's positive, there's anti against it, there's conspiracy theories. There's so much going on. You can believe any way you want to. One thing I will say, what bothers me is it bothers me to see what is happening. I guess according to the shutdowns, what's happening to our businesses, what's happening to our residents' mental health, our school kids. I think what's happening is many of our people are being brought to their absolute end. And it's very difficult for me to watch this. Yet it seems like this is just something we'll have to keep going through and keep trying hard to bring our numbers down. But today my COVID story starts back in 1978 when I was 12 years old. It was the end of June, and we were going to be getting out of grade 6 in about a week. And it was tradition back then that every year the grade 6 class would go to Birds Hill Park to go swimming and have a field day for the end of grade 6, kind of like the farewells are now. Well, it was about after lunch. And I was playing with a few friends in the water, and they were at chest deep, so that would mean I was probably at my neck with tiptoes on, because I was always a little short for my size, and that's how it was. I was one of the shorter kids in the class, and it's just how my life was. But I was walking, we were playing around, and I think what happened was I lost my balance. I lost control in the water. I went down and I went up, and all of a sudden my friend Gary Howell, who was my backdoor neighbor at the time, he noticed that I was bobbing up and down, and then when he noticed I didn't come up the last time, he started yelling, "My friend's down here." That is when he got the attention of a young boy. He was 14, and his name was Andrew Ellerzik. And he had just finished his life-saving course through his swimming lessons. And so I was his first person he was able to do some life-saving on. They were trying to get the lifeguard's attention, but the beach was very full. And I guess the lifeguard had lots to watch, very distracted. But Andrew, he pulled me out of the water with his friend. He began to give me mouth-to-mouth and resuscitation. He hit me on my back, and he wouldn't give up until I choked. And at that point, he realized I was alive and I was going to make it. But he kept working on me. And by then, the lifeguard came, and soon after that, an ambulance was called and paramedics were there. And I went to the hospital. A week later, Andrew came over, and that's where the picture came from. I'm the funny-looking guy on my right here. He's the other fella, and it was really neat to see him and thank him face to face. And that was the last I saw him up until I think it was the July long weekend. We had our first 2 COVID cases here in Steinbach, or maybe it was May long. It was a long weekend anyways. And I think it was Smitty's and Boston Pizza each had staff members that had had close contact with COVID. And through that, there was media crawling around on Monday all over Steinbach, and I was on CTV News. And I think he saw me on the news. So that night, waiting for me on the Earl Funk Mayor Facebook Messenger was that exact picture with the bottom line was, "Are you the boy in this picture?" And I messaged him back, "Yes, I am the boy in this picture, and you're the other boy, and you saved my life." And that started probably about an hour's worth of messaging back and forth, and we caught up over Messenger. And we traded information, and we promised when this all's over, we're all going to get together. And it was really great to meet him again, even though it was only electronically at this time. But one of the neatest things, and it shows you how small our world is. I was at a debut for the Belong film, and there was a representative of Imperial Metals, and they're one of the sponsors of the film. And Andrew happens to work for Concord, the Concord Industries or whatever. They're a building company, and they do a lot of commercial buildings. And Imperial Metals does all their commercial steel for them. And when I told him this story, because it was quite fresh still, right? Then he said, Andy Eller's like, yeah, I email that guy almost weekly because we do business with him. I thought, how cool is that? That's how small our world is. So that is my silver lining in this cloud of COVID, is that if it wouldn't been for COVID, had it not been for those cases, had it not been for that news story, I might not have been reconnected with Andy. And it was really neat. I can hardly wait till we can meet in person. He was telling me about he had one granddaughter he just had. He had another granddaughter on the way. I think she would be born by now. And I'm excited to meet him and his family. I'm excited for my family to meet him, because he is the fella that in 1978 he saved my life and gave me a second chance. And that I met him through COVID. Thank you, Council. Council, we have the agenda in front of us. I'd like a motion to adopt. Councillor Penner, second by Councillor Siemens. Any comments?
No comments.
Call for the question. All those in favor? As carried. Number 4, we got the minutes of November 17th, regular council meeting. They start on page 1. Council, we've all had a chance to review. Looking for a motion to approve. Councillor Hebert, second by Councillor Swagstra. Any comments?
No comments.
Call for the question. All those in favor? That's carried. Is there any business arising from the minutes? Okay, seeing none. There are no public hearings. We have no delegations. There are no reports and recommendations from the city manager, so we'll go straight to number 9, administration. We've got the accounts payable in the back of the book. I trust you have a chance to review. Council, I'm looking for a motion to approve. Councillor Hebert, second by Councillor Penner. Any comments? Call for the question. All those in favor? And that is carried. Council, on page 5, we have all the 2020 council meetings. Please note, they're every first and third Tuesday of each month at 7:30. Okay, 9C. Council, we have the R.C.M.P. officer request. Mr. Working Team, would you like to introduce this motion at all?
Just as background for council, the City of Steinbach does control the total R.C.M.P. officer complement within the Steinbach detachment for policing the City of Steinbach. In past years, from time to time, as council feels it necessary, it does consider the addition of additional R.C.M.P. officers to enhance the policing force within Steinbach, and that can be either for reasons of need in the community due to actual statistics, or whether or not it's just due to general growth. This was requested by council to be added to the agenda, and it would request an additional officer to be effective in 2021, and that would require a resolution.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Morgantine. Council, would you like to, Councillor Swags?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I will make the motion for this.
Okay, do we have a seconder? Councillor Hebert? Go ahead, Councillor.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. As the city manager noted, this is something that we review on a periodic basis, and right now we have 16 officers that are allocated for Steinbach, and that works out to roughly about just under, when you consider our current population, just over 1,000 people per officer. The last time that council had requested an increase is 2014. That is 6 years ago, and then that went into effect. We got the additional officer in 2015, and so it's been 5 years since we've had any increase in terms of the number of officers, and we know that the population of Steinbach has continued to grow since that time. We know that there continue to be challenges in Steinbach. As the chair of the R.C.M.P. Advisory Committee, I meet regularly with the staff sergeant and with Mayor Funk, as well as 2 community members. And one thing that's been made clear is that there's obviously significant, as the city continues to grow, there are issues such as drugs that continue to be a problem. Traffic enforcement continues to be another important priority, and it's important to have police officer visibility. And obviously, as the population grows, there is a need for more policing. I should note that compared to other communities, we still have far fewer officers on a per capita basis than virtually any other community that's of any kind of comparable size. And so I think it makes sense for us to go ahead with this. And I will just say that, it's interesting that at a time when, you look across the country and you have some cases where you have politicians that are saying we don't want to have police and being critical of police. I'm very pleased that we're a council that we support our police. We recognize the important work that they do, and it's important that we make sure that our police force has the resources necessary to be able to keep our citizens safe. And that does mean that on a periodic basis, as our population grows, that we should continue adding officers to make sure that we're keeping up with that. So I think it's good that we're making this request. This will put us up to 17 full-time equivalent R.C.M.P. officers allocated for Steinbach, and I think that's the right direction to be moving.
Anything further?
When it comes to manpower and equipment for our first responders, I'm the first one to support them, and to me it's always been a priority and continues to be a priority, and I think we owe it to them. They're frontline workers, and another officer in Steinbach would dedicate us totally to our work would be very good.
Thank you. Councillor Siemens.
I agree with the motion. I think this is a good move for the community. I'll have 2 questions though for administration. Through you, Mr. Mayor.
Go ahead.
What's the cost of one officer adding to the city of Steinbach?
Generally, once all related administrative costs for that officer are factored in, I believe it's in the range of $160,000 to $180,000 per year.
Thank you. I guess the other question is, can we define where to put that officer? Like we have the GIS and do we have those discussions? Perhaps that would be a Councillor Swagstra question.
Sure, I can comment on that. The R.C.M.P. Advisory Group, we did talk about this with the staff sergeant. His preference would be to leave it flexible rather than specify that it has to go to just one area. I know that when we had our previous increase in officers, we did that specifically so we can create the GIS unit. In this case here, he felt that it would just, as far as overall effectiveness, it would just be helpful if this one could be flexible as far as where the officer would be allocated, because it really does depend on a lot of factors.
Good, thank you.
Anything else? Anything in closing?
No.
Yes, Council, I would recommend supporting this, this request also. Steinbach is served well by the men and women that protect us at this point. They work very, very hard. They're very, very diligent, and they love our community, and they do their very, very best. And I think this is the best way to show them support is to give them extra help. And I do agree with keeping it flexible, because our present staff sergeant, he's very ingenious in how he allocates his work. And when there was a vacancy in one of his detachments, he picked up a canine unit, and the canine unit has been indispensable in fighting crime in our area and in the area where, like in the southeast here. So I do believe he'll do the best he can with that officer, and that's why I'm very confident and comfortable with just leaving it flexible as his discretion. Okay. Call for the question. All those in favor? Opposed? That is carried. Okay, we have 9D, resolution for supplemental taxes, on page 7. Mr. Workentine, would you like to introduce this file?
Yes, Mr. Mayor, this schedule and resolution on pages 7 and 8 represents supplementary taxes and tax cancellations in connection with assessment value adjustments that have been provided to the city from the Provincial Assessor's Office. This then recognizes the added taxes calculated on those assessments. Recommendation is to approve the schedule as provided.
Council, would you like to proceed? Councillor Schweitzer,
I'll make the motion to approve.
second by Councillor Penner. Go ahead, Councillor.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. This is something that we do every year where we have, there's new construction and changes which result in supplemental taxes, and then also a smaller number of tax cancellations as a result of, let's say, closures or demolition and such. We do budget for this every year, and so the amount that is here is very close to what had been in the budget, and so this is just reflecting that.
Anything further, Councillor Penner?
Nothing further.
Anything further of council? Anything in closing? Call for the question. All those in favor? That is carried. We have 9E, resolution interim operating budget on page. Yes, Mr. Work.
I'm sorry, Mr. Mayor. There is one more resolution that is recommended. It's on page 18. It's a separate resolution for the tax cancellations.
Oh, for the, okay, so, council, this is for the tax cancellations. Looking for motion.
Motion to approve.
Councillor Penner. Second by Councillor Hebert. Go ahead, Councillor.
No comments.
Nothing from council? Call for the question. All those in favor? That's carried. Okay. Council, now we'll go to 9E, which is the resolution interim operating budget. Mr. Workentine, would you please introduce this file?
An interim operating budget, and in this case, including a capital component, is presented for council's consideration every year. This is a requirement in the Municipal Act, and it does provide the spending authority for the city to continue to conduct business until such time as it adopts its regular budget for 2021. Recommendation is that council approve this interim operating budget as presented.
Okay, council, would you like to proceed? Councillor Penner?
Motion to approve.
Second by Councillor Penner. Go ahead, Councillor Penner.
This is just really a housekeeping item that we do every year. The issue really is timing. It's just pretty standard practice, so that's why we're approving that.
Any further? Any further of council? Call for the question. All those in favor? That is carried. 9F, the resolution, the RBC Borrowing. That's on page 26. Mr. Workentine, would you like to introduce this file?
Yes, this resolution that is presented in the agenda package is a resolution that authorizes the city to be able to borrow funds as may be needed for paying expenses. Recommendation is for council to adopt this resolution.
Okay, council, would you like to proceed? Council Paul?
Question for administration.
Read it.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, through you. Mr. Workington, with regards to the amount that's being borrowed requested for $2 million, but the interim operating budget exceeding that, is that just the interim budget is on a high ceiling or where is the difference made up in that?
Well, the $2 million that is identified in this resolution represents if the city does not have any additional, or if it has run out of actual cash balances on hand. So it would just give the city basically an operating line of credit to access if payments would be required in the interim.
Thank you.
Okay.
Motion to approve?
Do we have a seconder? Second by Councilor Hebert. Any comment?
No comments?
Anything further?
No comments either.
Anything further of council? Okay, we'll call for the question. All those in favor? And that is carried. Number 11, council question period. Is there any questions of council? Okay, seeing none, we'll go to 12, correspondence and petitions. We have 12A from the Minister of Municipal Relations, the Mobility Disadvantaged Transportation Program. It's on page 27. This is our interim payment for our Mobility Disadvantaged Transportation Program. So, council, just take it, how would you like to proceed? Take it as information? Okay. And so that is, then we have 12B, Epp Library, the minutes for November 18th, 2020, page 29. Council, how would you like to proceed? Just take it as information? Okay, will do. There's no other business. Looking for a motion to adjourn. Councilor Hebert, second by Councilor Penner. Call for the question. All those in favor? That is carried. Thank you. Next regular council meeting is Tuesday, December 15th, 2020 at 7:30. Thank you.